Hey, what's up guys? It's the Nightwing Way of Life Esports coming at you guys with another League of Legends video, here to talk about the LEC Spring Split 2020 Playoffs Recap Part 2. Last week we had Mad Lions upsetting G2, Fnatic steamrolling Origin, and Rogue easily taking down Misfits. Now, coming into this week, I actually wondered if Fnatic could take down Mad Lions and show people exactly why Mad Lions are a little overrated. Now, I explain why, because a lot of teams, when they get this little upset in their own region for a team that's not supposed to beat this better team, sometimes after that, that team that pulled off the upset gets a little complacent, and then they actually lose the previous week in embarrassing fashion. I've seen this in every single region when something like this actually happens. So coming into Friday, you had Origin versus Rogue. Now, Origin primarily draft super safe. Nukeduck is on Kassadin, and their draft kind of reflects that. With the Renekton, Trundle, Aphelios, and Thresh, you had Rogue playing Orin, Kindred, Azir, Senna, and Tahm Kench. Now, early on in the game, Hans Sama gets 2 kills, on the Fasting Senna, and when you get 2 kills on the Fasting Senna build, obviously, that's not going to be really good. Finn comes in with a nice knockup, and they get first blood onto Hans Sama, their primary carry. He's actually been looking a lot better, and then I think Origin needs to kind of stop playing like Team Liquid from last year, because all they do is pretty much just draft for scaling, 20-minute skirmish, and they try to win the game off that. I think that proponents of that go into Nukeduck and Xerxes, obviously being proponents of that sort of strategy, but Rogue basically played amazing this game. I mean, this is the best game of the series from them, and probably one of the more better games of the split. Now, looking at how this game played out, later on, Vander forces Upset to flash, and then later on, he gets a kill onto Upset himself. Tahm Kench, you need to unbench the Kench to see all his good, juicy fish snacks getting unloaded onto people. Rogue choke Origin out of vision. They get all the objectives. They get Elder Dragon. Rogue were basically playing the game that Origin wanted to play, but they just got it done a little bit quicker. Later on, Origin try to fight again. They almost chunk out Finn. Finn gets a nice triple knockup. They put himself in the Kindred ultimate. Hans Sama kills Upset. Nukeduck actually kills Inspire, but it really doesn't matter. They're just basically trying to dissuade Rogue from fighting. Origin actually get 2 kills in return. Nukeduck was actually playing pretty well on the Kassadin pick, but later on, it's been pretty much just Origin kind of just stalling out. Later on, Rogue get the Elder Dragon after a good team fight, and they win the game. Xerxes dies insanely fast. Nukeduck gets exploded on the Kassadin. They later on kill Destiny, and then Upset later on dies as well. Rogue start the series off 1-0 on their way towards the next round of the playoffs. Next game is Origin needing to actually play a whole lot faster, but this is where it comes into that. Rogue draft Renekton, Sejuani, Corki, Ezreal, and Yuumi. Origin draft Kennen, Set, Cassiopeia, Senna, and Zilean. I think that Zilean for Destiny is really good for him, because if he's not really going to be good at a specific champion, like a hook champion like Nautilus, Blitzcrank, or Thresh, then giving him something safe like Zilean, where he can poke, sustain, speed up carries, is really good. EU loves flexing this set. They literally love flexing it in support, jungle. Sometimes I've seen people put it mid. I mean, Set is just a strong champion in general, so I could see why a lot of teams are doing that. Later on, the game doesn't really go too much anywhere. Xerxes is really covering for Nukeduck. Nukeduck on this Cassiopeia looks insanely strong. He's actually had a lot of good performances with it, in the past. They get a really early kill onto Xerxes, which is really good for the set. Later on, Origin actually get 2 more kills, which are going onto Upset and Alphari. Alphari, obviously, on the Kennen is going to do really well bursting targets down if he's obviously ahead early on. Hans Sama and Vander try to catch out Upset with the Yuumi Ezreal, team up, but it doesn't really do anything. Later on after that, Origin just choke Rogue out of vision and pretty much do every single thing that Rogue did to them in this game. Origin later get more kills onto Upset, their primary carry. Origin later on get a Baron. Origin are really by the book. They get a Baron around 26 minutes in. Then later on, they have a team fight toward the end of the game. They kill Finn. They get an inhibitor. Rogue tried killing Nukeduck. He gets the 1v2 outplay. Yeah, it's a perfect game for Origin. I mean, 28 minutes in, who says Origin can't play fast? Game 3, Rogue need a change in this game, or they are going to be at risk of obviously, not being able to go further in the playoffs. You have Rogue taking Orin, Jarvan, Echo, Aphelios, and Tahm Kench. You have Origin taking Aatrox, Pantheon, Azir, Misfortune, and Nautilus. We know people love the Misfortune Nautilus bot lane on this patch. Aphelios and Tahm Kench is also a very common bot lane as well. Early on, Finn gets a kill. Xerxes gets a kill. They are going to end up taking Rift Herald, which is going to give them a decent little boost in the early game. Origin explode with more kills. I mean, it's literally just Alphari just running over in the side lanes. Finn really can't handle him. He's really far ahead. He has the Black Cleaver around 17 minutes in. He's playing a really good game. Later on, Alphari gets a kill onto Larson. Later on, they have a pretty decent skirmish where they basically blow Inspired Flash. I don't know what got into Rogue in this draft. They were just all playing bad. I mean, it's basically how Origin like to play. Once they know they can outplay you and they have the better players, they can easily disrupt you. Destiny does die, but later on, it's just Alphari going 1v3 in the back line. Xerxes with the Guardian Angel does survive. Upset ends up even flashing away. He starts getting a lot of trade kills back himself, but Rogue actually do find themselves a team fight win, even with Origin getting a Baron. It's now around 40 minutes in, 14-8 in kills. Origin is 8,000 gold ahead. It's all Origin. They are ready to get their rematch against G2 from the spring split of last year in the finals, because if they win this match, they get to obviously play against Origin, and Alphari and Finn have a little dance battle because they know they've lost. And then right now, Origin take the 2-1 lead in the series, and now we are on to game 4. This game was pretty much all she wrote at a certain point. I remember watching this live, and I was like, wait, Origin is going to win this game easily, because they have the Renekton set, LeBlanc, Misfortune, Nautilus, Rogue have Orin, Sejuani, Aurelia, Hansama, and Vander are on the Aphelios, Tahm Kench. I think that once Nukeduck started getting all of these kills early on, it was very abundant. I'll get this word. But it was very clear that they were actually going to win this game. With Nukeduck getting all these early kills, it was just GG, go next. This was Origin's, actually by stats, the fastest game of their split so far. 19 minutes in, and it still was decently slow for them, but to be fair, they already won. They were playing for kills. Nukeduck was popping off on the LeBlanc. I think that Nukeduck's primary damage source was obviously roaming to side lanes and making sure he was bursting out targets effectively. And Origin defeat Rogue. Rogue's season is over. Are they a disappointment? Yeah, in some shape or capacity, but it's how things happen. Do you think that Rogue would be a better team in a best of 5 than they were in best of 1? That's what I personally thought, but no, it didn't happen. Origin beat Rogue. The next day is Fnatic taking on Mad Lions, and if you actually told me that Mad Lions would be facing Fnatic, I'd probably call you crazy. Fnatic end up starting off their game against Mad Lions with Bwipo on that patented Maokai. A lot of damage there. You have Maokai, Rek'Sai, Azir, Senna, Thresh. Mad Lions take Orin, Lee Sin, Zoe, Aphelios, and Zillion. So, early on into this game, it's just kind of standard textbook like Fnatic like to do. They get a few early invades off with Selfmade on the Rek'Sai. Arome is actually winning the 1v1 in the tank matchup with Bwipo and between what's the name? Maokai and Orin. Arome was actually winning against him a little bit early on, but it wasn't really that big a deal personally. Selfmade dedicates a little bit of resources to the bot lane in order to blow the flash off of Karzi. By blowing Karzi's flash, he has to play a lot more safer, which gives Fnatic the chance at winning. Now, Mad Lions actually get a kill on Arome early on. They actually almost tried to, gank Humanoid, and he actually evades on the Zoe. Zoe is one cancer-ass champion, I'll tell you that. But later on, Fnatic end up answering back with 2 kills of their own. Selfmade ends up dying, actually, but then later on, Reckless and Hylissang are decently chunking out the Mad Lions bot lane. And then before that, you have Humanoid pretty much dying on the Zoe, actually, and Nemesis gets a little bit too close for comfort. Well, sorry, Selfmade gets a little too close for comfort, and he dies to the turret. Obviously, Fnatic get a turret around 13 minutes in. Later on in the game, it's all Fnatic, actually. They win all the skirmishes. It's all them. Romai can't do it with Bwipo in the side lane because he's too tanky. Most people can't even really, damage him because Rogue's composition works primarily decently early game with the only late game Aphelios pick. Mad Lions actually losing this game. Fnatic played immaculately well this game and really did show people why they are not a team to be taken lightly right now. Nemesis easily kills Kaiser. Selfmade easily kills Carzzy. It's 2 kills on the Azir. It's Nemesis popping off. 1+, baby. Let's go. Game 2, you have Fnatic drafting their lovely specials that they love to do in playoffs. Mad Lions is on Aatrox, Olaf, Nautilus mid, and then Aphelios Thresh bot lane. Fnatic's special this game was Malphite top. Then you have Gragas, Yasuo, Misfortune, Blitzcrank. Now, why people have been picking the knockup combinations is because Yasuo is insanely strong when you pair him with knockups, obviously, but that is an instant kill because Malphite bursts people. And then if you have Yasuo, it's basically an insta-kill. And if you're not running something like a Tom Kench for the enemy team, it's also going to be insanely hard for them to just do anything. Early on in this game, Mad Lions actually get ahead. Mad Lions actually dive Fnatic. They get turret plates early on. And it's pretty much all Mad Lions from this point out. But then later on, you have Fnatic starting to crawl back from their deficit a little bit. They get a few picks here and there where it's onto Reckless, Selfmade, and Bwipo. Now, Bwipo is just obviously charging up, for the Malphite ultimate to basically one shot. And then obviously you have Nemesis CSing pretty decently on the Yasuo. He was getting ganked early on. Then later on, Mad Lions get another kill. And then basically, you have this transition of Mad Lions definitely pushing out their side lanes correctively. You also have, Bwipo pushing out the side lanes and then him getting a little bit of turret plates. That's pretty good for them, obviously. Selfmade is 3-0 on the Gragas. And then, Bwipo evades a Thresh hook around 14 minutes in. I mean, weird just having party in the mid lane. Later on, Bwipo dives one of them. It ends up getting a kill onto Shadow. Carzzy ends up dying. Fnatic are crawling back this deficit. Now, it was a 2,000 deficit. 60 minutes in, Humanoid gets a hook onto Hylissang, kills him. Reckless gets to free fire, gets a double kill. Around 17 minutes in, Carzzy kills off Nemesis. But it's Fnatic crawling back in the game. They were having fight after fight. They knew their composition was better. If you played out the Wombo combo correctly, Reckless is really popping off on the Misfortune. They go to Baron, and you actually thought that Mad Lions had a chance to win the game. Later on, Fnatic and an Infernal Drake, they kill most of the members of Mad Lions, and then they also make sure that Shadow dies instantly, and then it's Infernal Dragon, and then after that, it is all Fnatic winning every single team fight. Mad Lions had a shot to win early enough in the game, but they basically fumbled every single part of it. There's a fight near the Infernal Drake again, and then you have Fnatic acing them, and yeah, it's 2-0 Fnatic, hashtag always Fnatic. Now in game 3, you have Fnatic taking Malphite again with Gragas. Nemesis is on Tristana, and you have the Misfortune Thresh bot lane. You have Nukeduck on, no, sorry, not Nukeduck, sorry. You have Mad Lions composition, which is Sylas, Olaf, Renekton, Syndra, Nautilus bot lane. So, looking at both compositions, I like both. They're trying to experiment. They have a lot of bursts. They have a lot of picks. You have a lot of CC. Aromite on Sylas is something that I don't think you want to prioritize with him. Because he's not really sufficiently a carry player from what I can currently see, to the point where you're justifying giving him a carry pick like Sylas, but, it is something that can deal with Malphite early on, so, I mean, to each their own, obviously. Fnatic ends up getting 4 kills, 7 minutes in. Yeah, Bwipo, Selfmade, and Reckless getting the kills again. They transition that into a Mountain Drake around 7 minutes in, and it's just skirmish after skirmish. They're fighting over Rift Herald. Selfmade gets another kill. Carzzy kills Bwipo. It's basically Reckless, using the bullet time correctly. Nemesis kills himself, and then you have Arome dying to Nemesis, and it's when the 280 carries get all the kills, you're gonna be in trouble for that. Later on, after the game is over, basically it's just Selfmade saying, yeah, Mad Lions are easy. So yeah, I mean it's pretty much Fnatic is insanely strong right now. They're firing on all cylinders. This game in this series does prove that Mad Lions have a lot they need to work on. Around 29 minutes in, they do pick off Nemesis and Bwipo, but Fnatic is too far ahead. Selfmade gets a quadra kill on the Gragas. There's new star jungler popping off. Selfmade is what Dardoch should be for TSM. You have the Gragas getting a quadra kill. The delayed Penta. Who stole my boy Selfmade's Penta? Who was it? Oh my god, who stole Selfmade's Penta? No one takes my Selfmade's Penta. I think Reckless took it. Oh my god. It's a quadra kill for the Selfmade, who can definitely make himself worthful in Fnatic right now by beating Mad Lions. Fnatic 3-0 sweep. Mad Lions. And then they tweet on Twitter, G2 lost this. That was actually pretty funny. Now, the last series of the week was G2 versus Origin, a rematch of the Spring Split Finals last year. Obviously, Origin's kryptonite is G2. They very rarely ever beat G2. I mean, it's pretty crazy what the win-loss ratio is onto both of these teams. It's basically just one team is this is what Frostgaren would say, stylistically different than each other. Like, and I'll agree, and I will agree with that. G2 is just way too different from Origin for Origin to really kind of beat them. But this is how the first game goes. So you have the first game with G2 getting Maokai, Trundle, LeBlanc, Ezreal, Yuumi. Back when Mickey last played the Yuumi, he executed himself. Like, what the fuck? Then you had Origin taking Aatrox, Lee Sin, Azir, Aphelios, Nautilus, bot lane. So with perks on LeBlanc, you know he's ready to roam, get kills. G2 do what they do best. They love starting the game off with kills. Early on, G2 were under heavy criticisms last week for Caps' bot lane performance. They kill Nukeduck early on. They get perks to kill. They kill Yankos, let the trade back. Destiny TP's in. And then later on, this game was pretty much ran away with G2. At a certain point during the game, they were like, you know, just like fucking around. They were just going for kills. They're just kind of like, you know, funneling themselves into Origin. Oh my god, it was really fun to watch them, you know, just finally have a decent game after a while, because they wanted to make this a statement game, and this, well, kind of was a statement game. I mean, they weren't playing exactly perfect, but at least they were playing a lot better than they did last week. So, perks at 17 minutes in, 3-0. Maokai has kills. You have Caps on kills. I mean, you basically have all the carries you need to have the amount of kills that they need. Xerxes summons a Rift Herald around 17 minutes in. They get the mid lane turret. But then later on, Origin just pretty much lose every single fight. I mean, they were losing hard. I mean, it's just a counter playstyle at this point with G2 and Origin. Later on, G2 get the Baron, and then it's all she wrote. Caps gets a pentakill. 32 minutes in. Yeah, Caps showing people that he can play ADC, not to the best of the abilities as I would like, but he does get a pentakill. And yeah, G2 start the series 1-0. The next game, Wonder starts off like with a little bit of a, what's the little thing that they do? Like a fucking hype mini video where he says, like, you know, they were all pretty disappointed that they played badly as they did last week against Mad Lions. Origin take Maokai, Set, Azir, Misfortune, Nautilus. G2 take Nico, Pantheon, Zillion, Aphelios, and Thresh. So looking back where it all started to, you know, basically just kind of throw, you know, Origin off their game is that they get a dive, an unfiltered dive actually, which caused Perks to get an early trade kill. Yankos gets an early kill onto Nukeduck, which pretty much should put him very far behind. And looking at how this game went, Yankos was really pathing it correctly, a lot more better than he did against Mad Lions. And yeah, it's G2 basically running away with the game around 22 minutes in. They have the correct amount of lane pressure to put in all their lanes. They are pushing effectively with the Nico burst, pretty much just one-shots a Azir or Misfortune and or Nautilus if you can get it down correctly, if he's actually still super squishy. Then later on, another team fight is won by Origin actually, and Origin are now like 5,000 gold ahead, which is pretty interesting, all things considered. But yeah, you have G2 definitely, you know, crawling back. Origin greed way too much for a mid lane turret after they actually made a decent comeback. Later on, they chunk out Alphari. Caps is running 90 miles an hour on the Aphelios. I mean, he could have gotten 2 pentas this game. What a statement that could have been. People saying that, oh yeah, Perks should go back to ADC, you know, 4 caps so he can play mid lane. But that would have been a great narrative. People flame your ass, then come back and get 2 pentas. Oh my god. But yeah, G2 end up winning this game, and it's 2-0 G2. Now, the story of Game 3 for Origin is actually G2 kind of pulling a Cloud9? Crazy, right? The reason why I say that is because a part in this game, G2 were also decently winning. Origin have Renekton, Set, LeBlanc, Misfortune, Nautilus. G2 take Aatrox, Pantheon, Zoe, Varus, Tom Kench. They gank Perks early on. They get up behind. They end up killing Jankos. LeBlanc is just popping off. We know LeBlanc is one of Nutuk's strongest champions, where he effectively gets to play the map and impact the map a lot more differently than most people would anticipate. Destiny gets caught out around the mid lane, but he actually doesn't die. He actually doesn't die, which is a bummer because you actually need that trade kill back. Later on, Origin is winning the early game, but they kill off Alphari, and then also later on they win a lot more team fights. You actually thought that G2 had a mild chance of at least winning this game early on. Later on, Origin played out all the scenarios correctly. I mean, they won every single team fight, they won all the skirmishes. Pretty textbook Origin from this game. They actually tried for G2 to really do anything. They were trying to basically run at Origin when they were ahead, but I mean, they kind of already lost this game, so you have to kind of do something. And then Origin, yeah, crawl back and win. It's kind of weird though. Origin will go down 2-0 in the series and then win game 3. It's like a weird thing they do, but at least Origin win one more game in this series than they actually did in spring last year. But looking at this game right now for Game 4, Origin have to win this game to at least get this series underway. You had G2 with Orin, Olaf, what's her name? Akali, Misfortune, Taric. Origin take Aatrox, Set, Cassiopeia, Kaisa, and Nautilus. Now, I understand the composition from Origin is that in games like these, you want to basically make sure you have insurance policies. So the insurance policy is Kaisa, and you have the, you know, her being protected by Nautilus, and you also have the Cassiopeia for Nukeduck, so just in case he actually gets behind early on, or if he doesn't die, he can be affected no matter what. And so just in case you have Alphari getting picked on early on, they're okay. G2's composition is more about burst and surviving team fights with picks. Or Perks messes up a mid lane 1v1 against Nukeduck and actually dies. And then later on, Origin get another kill, so you're thinking to yourself, yeah, Origin has a chance in this game. G2 get a dragon. Later on, G2 are diving Origin consistently for kills, balancing the turret aggro. Later on, Caps is now on 2 kills on the Misfortune. He's playing actually pretty well this series. The team fights go relatively back and forth for a little bit around 31 minutes in. Destiny tries to land decent hooks, all things considered, and then later on, Destiny pretty much almost dies, but then after that, G2 decide to back away from Origin because the Cassiopeia throwing out those twin fangs is absolutely insane. And then later on after that, G2 end up taking the Baron, where basically Origin tried fighting them at. You know, Jankos gets the smite. Perks ends up getting a shutdown onto Nukeduck. With Nukeduck dead, there's no damage. Xerxes dies, and then you have 2 kills onto Jankos. G2 actually redeemed themselves from losing to Mad Lions, knocking out Origin just like they did last spring, and continues the curse of basically Origin consistently losing to G2. Yeah, it is just a kryptonite. This is like Rocks Tigers and SKT. G2 is just Origin's kryptonite. Hashtag G2 win, baby. Let's go. We are going to get to the finals, actually, against Fnatic, and we will take them down. See you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe, most of all, enjoy. I'm the Nightwing, and Way of Life Esports is signing out. See you guys later. Goodbye. Peace.
Hi, you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.